Eugene Baah is a clinical embryologist who is one of the first Africans to be inducted into the European Association of Reproductive Health and also a fellow of the Indian Association of Reproductive Health. His expertise in reproductive health in Ghana is unmatched, as he's one of the very few who have mastered the sperm DNA fragmentation process, a groundbreaking innovation in reproductive health. Join me as he tells his unusual story of how he started off doing something else and ended as a celebrated clinical embryologist.
Since you're a clinical embryologist, tell us who a clinical embryologist is.
Thank you. A clinical embryologist is a person that is trained in the medical field and is been certified and qualified to make life, bringing gametes from a man and a woman together to create an embryo, to make a baby.
Gametes. Could you explain what that is?
Gametes, simply put, sperm and egg from both the man and the female.
So you bring the two components together in a clinical setup. Okay. And so when we did a little reading, we realized that you're one of the two certified clinical embryologists in Ghana, certified by the European Society for Human Reproduction and Embryology. How did you get there?
Well, it dates back about 2008 when I first joined Jubilee Specialist Hospital to be an embryologist. And it demands a lot that you read. The training was done partially in Ghana with one of the pioneers in IVF. And then I pursued it also in India. When I came back to continue in Ghana, I had to get a certificate, something that would prove not only local, but in the international world. And so I joined the European Society for Human Reproduction and Embryology. And that is where they also have a standard that is set out for people who really want to join them to be certified. So I wrote it an exams, and it's not just a simple exams. It's a very tough exams. First, I couldn't make it, and the second one I made it. And that was when two of us, the first one were two, the two of us didn't make it. And I tried again. I didn't want to give up. So it became the second one as we wrote, the second person joined. And then we all passed, just the two of us. By then we were the fifth and the sixth people in Africa. That was 2015.
So you're the first African to be inducted into the Indian Fertility Society. Tell us about that process as well.
Yes, upon the training in India, that was 2008, 9 and 10. And then the 2011, so I had to go to India for fertility conference. So having had that opportunity to be with the people there, I had to, meet a lot of friends. And they advised me that, why don't you join our group? And you register and you become a lifetime member. So that was when I had the opportunity.
So as a result of the training you had?
Yes, the training I had and the friends that I also made there, they encouraged me and then gave me the opportunity, spoke to the leaders, and then they enrolled me.
Are there any special requirements to be bound to that?
Definitely you can apply as much as you're an embryologist or a clinician, you can apply and be a member. Yeah, but you have to go through some series of checks to find out that you are real.
So your track record
would
tell. So we know you are an embryologist. We know you are part of the European Society of Reproductive Health, and then you're also part of the Indian Society for Reproductive Health as well. How did you eventually become an embryologist? What was the journey, and where did you start from? Did you always know that you're going to become an embryologist?
Oh, the answer to that question is no.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I joined Jubilee, I think if I begin from the basic, it will make it more connected.
We're interested.
Yes. Born in Accra, at the age of 1.5, sent to the village to stay with grandmother. Primary school through to junior secondary, Kotafu.
Okay.
Yeah, in the eastern region.
Okay.
So, in classes, I had accident, a pillar. I was such a stubborn guy, When people are being punished, they will call some people from the queue, come and hold Unfortunately, one day I held a certain girl's hand to be punished, and then she forced and got the pillar broken, and it fell on my leg. So the bone broke, and then they had to see this kind of herbalist in the village. They fixed it. In a matter of 2 months, I got the bone back, and I was walking back to school. Through to GSS, getting to the final year, that was where the terrible accident happened. I was riding along the road and a car hit me. A tipper truck loaded with yam from a front place hit me, and the back tire passed on my right leg. So that ended, more like was going to end my everything. I had to be in hospital for years. For the first part was about 6 months in a TBA government hospital. I missed writing BC. After passing the BC in the following year, I had to go to senior secondary school with a saw. Passed through that kind of hell life as a day student. So from that, I had the opportunity, to learn. And then it became like I passed the SSC. But going to secondary school, after the secondary school, tertiary institution became a very big thing to go to. Then I had opportunity from an uncle to help me do plastic surgery in Kolebu to get a saw off. And then that one too, it happened that it didn't work as it was supposed to be. So I had to spend another 4 months in Kolebu Hospital. From there, the second one worked. And then the opportunity to go to school had ceased. From 1995 that I completed SS, I had the opportunity to go to school in 99. In between these times, I tried teacher training college, nurses training college, Agric, University of Kwame Nkrumah University. I tried that. I had the opportunity to read natural sciences, but I didn't get money to pay, so I had to stay home again. But it all started rolling when a friend of mine came to advise me that there is a school in Kolebu where they train people to be medical laboratory technicians. So he even wrote the application for me. But then I had lost interest in everything. I even went to school of social welfare. But there, the principal sat me down and said, no, you don't belong here. Go and fight well, you will win it. A lot of prayer and other things. Prophecies here and there. You are not here, you don't belong here, this is not your field. And so in the end, when I was enrolled into that school, it was like a chance. About 500 people enrolled and 25 only selected because it was a scholarship training. I had the opportunity to be trained for 3 years and then a 1-year internship. Afterwards, I was sent to Bronhafo region, Kintampo to be precise, where I head their lab, and there too the opportunities started coming. There is this research center there that I was made as an assistant research fellow there, that I was doing things for them. At the same time lecturing in the rural health training school there, and then I had the opportunity to meet the Minister of Health and the then Director General of Health Services, Prof. Akosa then. So they planned opening a school, like adding more courses to the rural health training, and then had the opportunity to get back to school again to do a BSc in medical laboratory again. Well, after the BSc, then I went back. The opportunity that was made for me, that go to school and come and help us lecturing, I lost that. So I was forced to come back. And then a friend introduced me to Jubel. That was where the embryology aspect started. And for the past 11 years, I've been one of the best in the country as it is now.
So you were a laboratory person.
Yes, trained.
But when you got to Jubel, that's where you veered more into...
Good.
So, okay. So you're the first to introduce sperm DNA fragmentation testing in embryology in Ghana.
Yes.
You've been at it for the last 4 years. What is it really?
Well,
DNA fragmentation, and why is it so revolutionary in fertility in Ghana?
When it comes to male infertility, there's always been only one way of testing the potency of a man, and that's the normal semen analysis that is done.
Okay.
But we've realized that there are some of them that everything about their semen sample, the sperm content, everything would prove to be okay. But in the end, nothing happens. So we call it idiopathic. That's unknown. We don't know what is causing it. And some people will be told by their clinicians like that. But in the end, there is always the need to go to the molecular level. That's the DNA aspect,
Basic level,
the basic and check. So when you get there, then you can tell exactly what is happening. So this test is a form of test that tells the beginning, how the DNA is intact. If it is like broken down or is intact. The DNA is codons that are made in a form of protein, and they are exchanged, they are formed, and then brought out to make up the being. So if within the sperm it is fragmented or degenerated, definitely it is not going to be able to work as it's supposed to be. So we realize that internationally, there's the new trend for finding out how quality a man's sperm can be. Then we also took it up that let's measure in this area and bring it out.
Definitely, there's going to be a driving factor that would lead to delving deeper into this area. Definitely because then there's a decline in male fertility.
Yes.
Do you know what the male fertility rate in Ghana is?
Well, the overall total infertility among couples is about 15 to 16%. And when you call about 10 men randomly, you are likely to get about 3 of them, or 3 to 4, who are having problem with their semen. Some may have it that they don't have at all, no sperm in their semen. Some may be that they have some quite good number of sperm, and others will have it that their motility, the way they run, will not be good. Some have their structure. So let's say at randomly, males are really suffering, and this can be accounted for by the kind of society that we find ourselves in now. Looking at what we are eating, food on the shelves, and at the same time, what is around us, Wi-Fi systems. Gone are the days that we're using laptops, but now even the things that we are using, that we are putting in our pockets, those are the worst ones that we are even seeing now, and they are the cause for men and even women in general.
So what accounts for lowering sperm counts in men globally, or even in Ghana, so to speak?
Yes, like I mentioned, the radiation is around us, the kind of food that we are eating now, and even the kind of things that are happening. Like some men say we want to go for a warm bath, sauna, and all those things. People are sleeping in heat or warm blankets and things. There are all sort of things that may. But one leading thing is the food that we eat. Yes, majority of us are eating already prepared food, and they go with preservatives. Some are also with other kind of substances, and then the drinks.
That's one
the drinks.
Hard for the men to relate.
The drinks, the drinks, the aphrodisiacs. The alcohol alone has got its own portion to do to you, and then the enhancers, the things that they add to make you feel like you want to do something. It is also part of it. Yes.
Where you've gotten to now tells me you have passion for what you do. You're really actually into what you do.
Very.
Very much. Where did you discover it? Was it because so you got into lab tech?
Yes.
Right. Was it something you actually wanted to do?
Actually, my love for the lab work was because of my accident. The soul that I took to school through SS and then on admission, nothing, wasn't healing. And it was just a swab that was taken from it to the lab, and the culture was done, and they realized that this is the organism that is being there. And, they had to treat it before I do the plastic surgery. So passion for the lab came because out of that, I had my healing. And so I said, okay, let me also join this. I think I can also help others in this same situation. Then growing up, having that, the fertility work is also a lab work.
Yes.
Just that this time we are dealing with life and making life. In the other part of the lab, where you take the things that are not good in the person is taken to you, and then you find out what is in it. But this time we are bringing you their half-lives, then you put them together and you create life. Can I say create? You assist life to be formed.
To be formed.
Yes,
that's
creating now will be like being God, but that's not me. So that is how we get it. And the passion comes when, people have suffered years not getting what they want, and then they sit before you crying. But in the end, give yourself just about 3 months of being with them. They come back smiling because the woman is pregnant. Of course, that gives you more passion, and it makes you love the work and do it just like that.
Okay. So if I'm getting you right, one key thing in what you said was that through your misfortune, you discovered yourself.
Yes.
And you discovered what you wanted to do. And also a key thing in what you're doing as well is being able to help people.
Good.
That's generally what, drives your passion.
Yes.
However, are there any challenges in what you do?
Challenges are there.
Yeah. And how do you surmount those challenges?
Yes.
And what are the challenges?
You need to be disciplined in what you are doing. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do in life, you need to have a discipline and be honest in it, because with the fertility field, if you are not careful, you'll be doing things that will jeopardize your future. You might just be money conscious. Money will lead you, and then you can't just take anything and do anything in the lab. In the end, you might find yourself somewhere. There are stories about doctors and other embryologists elsewhere outside, not in Ghana as of now, that are coming out that doing this, doing that, and then in the end, the couple comes back and say, this is not what we voted for, this is not what we asked for, this is not what we paid for, and you've given us this. It becomes like a lifetime challenge to them, and if you are not careful.
What are the key malpractices that others, take advantage of?
Like using a wrong person for the other. A couple come to you and you swap. Some can even come to you secretly that help me, don't let my partner get to know. And in the end, if they get to know that this is what happened, some will say, oh, my husband is not good, so try to give me something that can be. Some will even ask for your own. And if you are not careful, yes. These are some of the moral challenges. But when it comes to the work itself, the training is difficult. You need to be reading every now and then. Be on your toe, so that the challenges that comes in as you work, you might find ways of trying to mitigate them. Yes, and every day in, day out, knowledge is increasing. Technologies are coming in. People are making research and bringing in ideas. So you also need to catch up with them so that you can also be. And they make it stressful because you are working. At the same time, you have to be like a student. Yes.
So in your field of endeavor, discipline,
yes,
a high moral compass,
yes,
and then the ability or the need to want to upgrade yourself consistently is what keeps you over there.
Yes.
Right. Are there any profound milestones in your professional journey that you want to share with us, like key achievements that you've?
Well, one of them that we can say is the DNA fragmentation.
Yes, you mentioned that.
Yeah. And then the European certification is also one. And at the same time, the joy that we've brought to people, making them mothers and fathers, they are all there. Yes, that we can say that, we have helped people. Because the act of, or the fact that people are looking for babies is not just a mere thing, It is not a race like people are just running and looking for the award. No. It is very difficult. And if you are not careful, you cannot help. Yes.
So, are there any challenges as well? Going back to the challenges, regulatory-wise, within your sector, are there any
as of now, in the country, there isn't.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what makes it a little bit of difficult for us. And then the number of people who are also embryologists in the country, very few. So having one mouthpiece to even speak, to be heard by the authorities, will be a little bit difficult. And then the training. There isn't any training in the country. Yeah, even if you want to become an embryologist, you will have to have a training outside. That's a certified one. And the one that you have in outside, you even have to get a place that when you come back, you're going to work. Otherwise, you come back and there isn't any kind of opportunity for you to work, which is also a challenge that whatever you have paid for, it becomes useless.
So if you were placed in a position, for example, health minister, you're a young, uprising entrepreneurial young man. I mean, you've put a lot of training into what you do, a lot of passion into what you do, and you've bettered yourself to become a globally accomplished or a globally renowned embryologist. You did that through dint of hard work. But if you were put in a position to change things, how and what would you do to change things?
In the academic curriculum or institutions, even it is now coming up, to introduce such courses and make room for people to be trained here. And at the same time, encourage, or even as people, clinicians, gynecologists, or group of doctors, clinicians coming together to set up, because it is going to be the backbone for treatment of infertility. And of course, introducing them academically and then into the private sector also, even into the government sector, the act of doing it will get the people to make it.
So on the average, I want to establish the demand for embryologists. On the average, within a month, how many people do you say would walk into your facility and say they have problems, or you'd identify that have problems with the male fertility?
Yeah. In Ghana now, we might have about 20 centers, and about 60-70% of them are in Accra, and about 50% of them are in Tema. So, averagely a day, I might get about 3 people coming to me.
A day?
Be on their own volition to come and inquire, or referred by people that go and then talk to this person. So those who are coming for inquiries and those who come in, that you can get about, say, 2 people, 2 kind of couple every day who are coming in to have that investigation done. Yes.
So that means that more and more there's an increasing problem with male fertility?
Both?
Well, for both. I speak so because of
men.
Because of men, and then your specialty in sperm fragmentation and all that. And so there's that.
Yes.
And then there's an increase in people wanting to, get themselves sorted out in that regard. So then that means that we need more and more people to be trained.
Yes.
More and more centers to be established.
Of course.
And so that's the solution that you prefer. And so there's opportunity for people to become clinical embryologists. Okay. So then in looking into the future, 10 years to come, how do you see that panning out?
10 years is even far. In the next 5 years, looking at myself where we started 10 years ago, I think that in the next 10 years, as you are saying, it's going to be massive. Massive in such a way that there's going to be a number of them set up. And also there's also going to be regulatory bodies that will take care of them. So there's going to be some kind of cleanliness, ethics are going to be there. And so on the other side, the technical aspect, there are going to be a lot of innovations that is going to assist and make it a little bit simpler.
So we need to tap from all of that.
Yes. And when it becomes more simple and affordable for the people who are doing it, definitely it will also be less expensive for quite a good number to also patronize and pick up.
So we need to put the structures in place to make these things possible. So is there a theme or a philosophy that runs through your personal life? Is there something you're guided by that has brought you where you are now?
It has to be done. We have to do it.
At all costs?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a result-oriented person.
Okay.
So if we have to do it, we have to do it. When I was in the senior secondary school, my philosophy was that suffer to gain. You can't just get anything on silver platter. So that's why I said, if it has to be done, it should be done.
I can imagine that you got where you are through, an accident, through suffering, and definitely, yes, you're where you are because of some kind of suffering.
Yes.
And so, in that same context, I can understand why you're driven by that mantra or that notion. For someone who wants to set out to be a clinical embryologist from start, you happen to be there by some accident. For somebody who wants to start from scratch, what would be your advice for that person?
Yes, like we all aspire to be people in great kind of profession. Little is known about embryologists. When people are in school, they want to be doctors, but they don't even know that there is a teeth doctor, ear doctor, and even the nose doctor. All want to be doctors, just that. So I believe that with the introduction of this kind of curriculum in our schools, those who want to become doctors, those who want to become laboratory scientists, they can start, get your very first degree whilst you even learn part of it as part of the biological sciences that we are taught in school. And then when you get it and you come out, even though you might be a specialized clinician or a biomedical scientist or a laboratory scientist, there is this field which you can also specialize and then go in, not to come in by accident, like I have to go there and then get the opportunity to go. You can have it planned if it is here. But now that it's even not here, I think what can be done is that with these form of educations that we are having, people will get to know, and people are now getting to even know more about embryology because they even come and ask, how can I get there? There are master's degrees and then even up to the PhD that people can do, but not in Ghana. Best in India or South Africa, UK. Yes, people can go and do that.
The purpose of the Rewired show really is to break things down for those behind us to follow. Clearly, like you just indicated, these are the steps that you took. You happen to be there by some form of accident, and the reason why we are talking to people like you is to eventually let people behind us or who want to become specialists in a particular field, we show the pathway that they take.
Yes.
And so you've shown us that it comes through dint of hard work, it comes through dedication, it comes through focus,
yes,
it comes through discipline, it comes through having a high moral compass. Of course, starting from somewhere and then moving one step and the next and the next. Eugene, thank you so much for joining us on the Rewired show. I believe that very soon we would have like 3 or 4 more clinical embryologists through this interview that we granted you. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.